Hello and welcome to Throwdown Thursdays. My name is David and today I'm joined by my little brother Luke. Say hello, Luke.
Hello, Internet.
And today we're playing Hey, That's My Fish. You actually played this game only twice before this recording. How do you feel your skills were? I mean, did you pick it up quite easily, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's quite easy to pick up. The mechanics aren't really they're quite just straightforward. So yeah, not too bad.
The longest part of the game I find is always the setup. This is like 10 times speed.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I think the way you did it was good. Putting them together in eights and then flipping them over and putting them.
There's no quick. There's no real quick way of doing it, is there?
Nah, and if you mess up, like I did, I knocked the things, then you got to get
a little
back
bit
in.
early. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit silly. And then if you don't get a good line, then you
have to start messing it up and everything.
Yeah.
See, Lewis has mentioned that he likes to keep the board random as and when it happens. So I like to change things. I don't like to have too many. Like at the top here, you can see there's loads of free fish. I don't like that. I like everything to be quite separated. So it's a little bit, So at the beginning, you're going to be placing your penguins on a tile with a single fish. What do you normally look for? What's the first thing you're looking for when you're placing your penguins?
The crossroads. So you put it on a single fish that can reach multiple threes. I think you have quite an advantage when you go from a certain point, maybe from first. If you go first putting down, you'll be able to get there's peak points where you can actually place your guy down. But other than that, more or less just trying to put it as far away from other people as possible.
Yeah, no, of course. So when you're placing them down, do you want to move all three of it? It's your second turn and you're moving the same penguin twice. Would you not really want to try and get some of the other fish? Or at the moment, this one here could have been taken by Natalie, but obviously she's moved that now. This penguin here now doesn't have access to any of the three fish.
That's true. However, at this point in the game, I think I was actually trying to be quite aggressive towards Lewis. I noticed that he had a guy in the corner, and I played before this where I'd been in the corner and got cut off straight away.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd try and get some of that in there. But yeah, that's probably why I was doing that.
Yeah, because he's got this little penguin down here, all in its own pretty much. So he's gonna almost be segregated unless he moves him along. He did have this penguin here, but he's obviously been able to move it. Being caught and trapped in this game is quite easy as well. Especially the more players that you play with, you kind of put yourself in a position maybe too far into the corner before you know it. The tiles are moving and then you're all on your own and you've got hardly any fish either.
Yeah, I think with the whole picking up the tile when you leave it, it melds quite well with the amount of things that are going on with the board, because it's quite hard to read where you'll be cut off into an island. As you can see, it's kind of starting to cut off into these glaciers, segregating people away.
Yeah.
And it's quite hard to read from where you are.
I mean, it's already turn 6 and already you can see, like you said, everything's been segregated. You're kind of already seeing that at the top here, this penguin here, you're kind of going to get these pieces here. Down here, there's not really much you personally right now, this very second, can do. You've almost been left to the side.
Yeah.
And you've got access to only a few tiles really. I mean, what do you try and look for when you're playing? Do you try and find open spaces, or do you just try and go for the optimal maximum points with a 3 fish, 2 fish?
I think the way I was playing it was I was focusing too much on other players at this point. I think I should have been focusing more on trying to get the 3 fish early and then making sure that my position was correct. So moving all of my pieces, I'd moved the same piece probably a bit too much.
Yeah.
Which allowed the other players to kind of go around me and cut me out a little bit.
I mean, this one here, you've only moved once, I think, or twice. This one and this one, you've moved quite a lot. This one was actually started at the bottom here, and it's obviously moved all the way to the top.
Yeah.
So I think keeping all your penguins moving at one time is quite important. It's almost at the end of the game. It's quite a short game. I mean, this only took us 10 minutes to record, less the setup time. So already we can see that you're segregated up here, here, and here. So the game for you is pretty much over. You know what tiles you're getting. So if you was to play again, I mean, before we played this game, you won the last game. So this point, I don't think you're going to lose. You might not win. You might win at this point. I think it's going to be quite close. Lewis does have a tremendous amount of points down here.
True.
what would you have done maybe differently in this specific circumstances?
Probably focus a bit more on moving my penguins to get more fish, and maybe making sure that when it does come to the point where the segregation happens, I'm in a place where there's more 2 fish than 1 fish, because I didn't keep that in mind when I was making my moves.
Yeah, I mean, when Lewis, I spoke to Lewis, he said that there's actually 40 points with the 2 fish, which almost it makes you think that you can just kind of forget about the 3 fish at some point.
True.
And focus on the 2 fish, because they'll obviously eventually get you more points. Like Lewis here, he's sitting on 11 points just with these 7 tiles, which is quite a lot. And there's no 3 fish there. He didn't really need to focus so much on them. So that's pretty much the end of the game now. So Natalie is going to have some points, I guess. She didn't really move. She had 2 penguins on the left side, that she never really moved. She moved only 1, really, constantly, which kind of didn't work in your favour, because when you was being aggressive towards Lewis, she was just doing her own thing. And if she had maybe assisted you, it would have stopped Lewis from collecting so many pieces at the bottom. At the top, he had quite a few 2s, and he got a couple of 3s as well up there. So she ends up just with 8 single fish. She gets the 5, 3, and the 3s. And Lewis gets the same amount as you. You both get 11 on the single fish. He gets 2 more on the 2 fish. And then he gets that extra 1 on the 3. So all in all, I think to be fair, I think you played pretty well. Like you said, you were focused on disrupting Lewis. You end up on 32 points. Lewis ends up on 39. Normally when I'm editing and I interview Ashley, I can say to him, oh, if you had done this, you would have got this amount of points. With this kind of game, it's quite hard because the board is really really small, and when you're moving your penguins, it's hard to calculate. All right, I can get these extra fish, but then you don't know where everyone else is going to go at the time. They could also get more points elsewhere, sort of thing. We got a tile that never got taken. So out of the 100 fish that there are, only 98 of them got played. Do you enjoy this game?
Yeah, I think it's quite good for how fast it can be, and because of the simplicity of the mechanics, it's quite easy to pick up, but also leaves quite a lot of room for depth of play. Like I think it's quite chessy in the way of you could just play it quite quick and see what happens, but you could also take your time and look where everyone is positioning and how other people are interacting with each other on the board, and that will probably suit you a bit better.
I prefer playing it one-on-one personally, because it is more like chess. You end up having 4 penguins each, but it is like chess. You know, you keep an eye on your opponent, you try and block them off, sort of thing. Obviously the pieces all do the same thing, but yeah, I can understand what you mean by it. It's kind of like chess. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.